Hello everyone, welcome to GBPlex, where you can watch movies and learn about some of the high-profile economic issues around the world. My name is Janelle.
And I'm Clarissa. Today we'll be discussing the very important issue of population growth. Today's movie is Inferno. So here we have some stats about population growth. The issue of population growth is important to address because the Earth runs on a finite amount of resources. If there are too many people living on this Earth, resources such as food, water, and other non-renewable resources will become scarce. Thus, there will not be enough for everyone to live on. In addition, population growth poses a serious risk to the environment and the climate. Too many people living on this Earth can lead to global warming and the melting of polar ice caps, which can result in rising sea levels. Without further ado, let's take a look at the following clip, a powerful speech made by Zobrist, the antagonist of the movie, pinpointing the importance of the issue.
Reach 2 billion. And only 50 years to double again to 4 billion people in 1970. We're nearly at 8 billion now. Bartlett gives the example of a beaker with a single bacterium in it, one that divides and doubles every minute. If you place the first bacterium into the beaker at 11 o'clock, and it's completely full by 12, at what time is the beaker still only half full? 11:59. That's what time it is for us. In 40 years, 32 billion people will fight to survive. They'll fail. We're a minute to midnight. Every single global ill that plagues the Earth can be traced back to human overpopulation, but serious birth control measures, they don't stand a chance. Outrageous violation of my rights, invasion of my privacy. Don't tell me what to do. And still, we keep attacking our own environment. There have been 5 major extinctions in the Earth's history. And unless we take bold, immediate action, the 6th extinction will be our own. We're a minute to midnight.
Wow, so given the suggestions of Zobrist's speech, we could be wiped out, which is very scary to think about.
Yes, that is pretty intimidating. His speech also suggests that the likely endpoint of continued overpopulation is going to be a collapse of our civilization. And apparently, it looks as if everyone is simply buying into his solution, even me, of reducing population substantially by creating a virus that makes 1/3 of the women in the world infertile. Or if not reduced substantially, the reduction will be enough to buy time for a more comprehensive solution. Sober's solution would be at least a good start, right?
Nice try, but I'm not sure Zobrist's solution of simply putting 1/3 of women on birth control would reduce the population. In fact, I think under his solution, the population would continue to grow.
Thinking about it, maybe you are right after all. I mean, an easy answer for the population growth is simply that every year, births outnumber deaths. Let's discuss in further details some of the main causes for this quick and astonishing rise in our population.
Mr. Langdon, I'm Dr. Brooks. I'm going to do a few checks, nothing to worry about. We'll get rid of this, shall we?
First off, improvements in medical and public health technology, such as immunization and antibiotics, has led to a greater number of people living longer. The number of deaths in our population have been declining, especially in developing countries.
Yeah, also people are living longer than they used to. For example, in the United States, the average life expectancy used to be 48 years old. Now it's 78 years old.
Just look at how many of the characters in the movie get beaten, threatened, and hit, but don't die. There's also an increase in the number of births per 1,000 of population per year. With more discoveries in medical science and advanced technologies, women who are incapable of getting pregnant now have a greater chance of having children by undergoing fertility treatment methods. Further speaking, when you consider how many couples in developing countries have had children to make up for high mortality rates, and or because they are in need of more hands to work for them to overcome poverty, we are looking at a big part of their population. This is particularly true in rural areas where young children are used to help raise crops.
Love awakens the soul to act.
Quoting Dante to me. But it's beauty, not love. What?
It's a minute to midnight.
We planned it together. We designed it together.
Lastly speaking, there is a notion of the hidden momentum of population growth, which refers to the phenomenon where the population continues to grow, even if the birth rate decreases. This is so because the current large generation of youth population will become potential future parents, who may give birth to equal or some amount at minimum of children.
That's very true. Let's look at Ethiopia, for example, where there are a lot of people in the children and youth ages and very few in the elderly. These children and youth will eventually grow up, be peak reproductive ages, and become parents. They will have children of their own, perhaps the same number and at the same rate, at which would contribute to the amount of growth in population. Even the decline in fertility rate won't show the result until after many decades have passed, since it takes time for young to become old. The United Nations Instant Replacement Population projections show that even with two-child families from the year 2000 forward, the population of Nigeria would grow from 114 million in 2000 to 183 million persons in 2050, an increase of 60%. The same projections show that the less developed the world as a whole would grow from 4.9 to 7.1 billion persons, an increase of 2.2 billion persons, even with an immediate fall of fertility to replacement level in 2000.
Now that we've discussed the causes of population growth, why don't we have a look at the current state of economic growth?
Yeah, so if we look at the demographic transition, a model that describes the population change over time, we can see that we are presently at stage 3, which is the decline in birth rates and the decline in death rates in 2010. So eventually, these two lines will intersect and we will be stable.
What can we do to handle population growth? We can't stop it and change the number of people living on this planet overnight due to modern technologies, low death rate, high birth rate, and the hidden momentum of population growth. Moreover, it takes many years to be able to feel a considerable change in falling birth rates.
I think what needs to happen that will solve this issue of population growth is that many of the world's regions need to strive to closely achieve the replacement level of fertility. The average number of children a woman gives birth to in order to keep the population at the same for generation to generation. This rate differs from country to country, but for a stable population in developed countries, this rate ages from 2.05 to 2.1. Any rate less than 2.05, we would decrease and the population would decline.
I also think that developing countries, who account for much of this growth in population, need to be more educated, particularly with respect to the effects of this large problem. These are the countries with the highest birth rates and young population. In addition, young women should be more educated and have more job opportunities.
So, what will happen if we don't stabilize our population growth? There's one theory called the Malthusian trap, which states that the rising population may result in lower levels of living. It's already valid in developing countries, where there's less jobs than there are for humans, meaning lower wage jobs or unemployment, more congested areas of living that we will eventually grow out of, and we will outgrow the resources that we need, which will lead to wars and conflicts. Eventually, humans may be forced to live a lower level of life that they are more accustomed to. That's why we need to fix the issue of population growth. So overall, population growth is clearly the world's biggest problem. If we don't act fast, it can be detrimental to Earth, humanity, and our well-being.
And see, just by watching this video, you're now more aware of our future and what population can do to the economy. So let's find a better alternative to this problem than making a plague like Zobers did in the movie.
You bring up some good points, Janelle.
And one more question. Is it really 1 minute before midnight?
Good question. We'll let you decide. Thanks for tuning in to GBDA Plex. We'll be back next week with some more awesome movie reviews.